One of the most highly anticipated boxing matches in years goes down on Saturday night in Vegas as Errol Spence Jr. will face off with Terence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight championship. So let's take a look at the best bets out there for this fight. And we're going to do that with the host of the mandatory boxing show. That is Shantelle Chand and Bryan Fonseca. You see them there. Guys, are you as excited for this fight as I am? Because I'm pretty pumped up.
Been waiting for this fight for about 5 years now, Dex, so definitely excited. Can't believe it's actually happening, but it's going to go down, and yeah, I'm definitely hyped for it.
And Bryan, I know you got to agree with Shantelle on this because this took too long to happen. This should have happened a long time ago. I assume you were pumped up for this too, right?
This is the biggest fight since at least Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder the first time, which was 5 years ago. And you could even go back if you wanted to Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao in 2015.
I thought that's where you were going to go. I think it's at least the most anticipated fight since that one we saw Mayweather and Pacquiao. But I'm going to start with Shantelle, with you on this, about this fight, because we've got two undefeated fighters. Many boxing experts have said that they can see this going either way. But as far as winning outright, Crawford, he is a slight favorite. I've seen odds anywhere on Crawford from -136 to -175. So is Crawford a worthy favorite when it comes to this bout?
This definitely is a true 50-50 fight, whether you want to take Errol Spence Jr. or Terence Crawford. And a lot of people will actually go to their resumes for this. And some people believe that Errol Spence Jr. definitely has the better resume when you take a look at the fact that he does have a Mikey Garcia, he has a Sean Porter, he has a Danny Garcia, and then he has your Dennis Ugas. And then you take a look at Bud Crawford. And despite the fact that he doesn't have those names, however, he did TKO Sean Porter, and Errol Spence Jr. couldn't do that. He is a guy that when he went to the welterweight division, he has knocked out everyone that he has fought since moving up. So his power actually got better as he moved up a weight class. So that's something to look into. But at the same time, Terence Crawford, all-around great fighter. You could also argue that he is the #1 pound-for-pound boxer in the world. So I think there's a reason why he is the favorite in this fight leading into it, and I agree with it.
All right, so we talk about Terence Crawford as the favorite. We got to ask Bryan this because, Bryan, I know that you love an underdog, and you can look at the odds and see that it's just over even money on Spence in this fight. So I got to ask you this about Spence. How much do you, one, think that his layoff, not fighting in 15 months, has an impact on the odds here? And is there good value in throwing some dollars down on Spence?
I think it's the layoff, but I also think the odds makers are just looking at the versatility and the ways in which Terence Crawford could win because he's a better counterpuncher, better defensive fighter than Errol Spence is. And while Errol Spence is bigger and stronger and could break you down, especially with his body punching, which is the elite of the elite, Terence Crawford is just a more versatile fighter, which we can probably get to in terms of who I'm picking to win this fight. But with Errol Spence, he could absolutely win because he's a great body puncher, because he can break you down, because Terence Crawford hasn't fought anyone as good as him in the ring. He fought Sean Porter, which is probably maybe a poor man's version of Errol Spence, who Errol Spence defeated, and he did stop Sean Porter, but that's not Errol Spence. And Errol Spence Jr. is the best welterweight in the world and has been at this division for a long time. Now, Terence Crawford will get a chance to prove himself, but Errol Spence can absolutely win this fight because of the damage he inflicts, particularly when he closes the gap and fights on the inside.
All right, so don't sleep on Errol Spence as an underdog here. And now this brings us to our moment of truth. Guys, give me your best bet for this big fight and who you think gets the victory in Vegas. Are you rolling with Spence? Are you rolling with Crawford? Shantelle, we'll start with you first.
Dex, this was a really hard decision to come to, and I was going back and forth for a pretty long time, but I'm going to roll with Terence Crawford to get the victory in this one. Listen, Errol Spence Jr., he is a great boxer, great body puncher, as you heard Bryan mention. He also knows what the judges are looking for when they're scoring, but at the same time, when you take a look at a guy like Terence Crawford, he's a switch hitter, has power in both of his hands. He's a great boxer as well, and one thing about him, he doesn't start off really fast, but once he figures you out, he starts to pick you apart. And that's exactly what he did to Sean Porter. And I believe Terence Crawford isn't going to knock out Errol Spence Jr. I don't think Errol Spence Jr. is also going to knock out Terence Crawford, but I do think that Bud is going to get the decision victory. And on FanDuel, it's a +165.
All right, good value there. You like Crawford to get that decision victory. Bryan, are you rolling the same way? Or are you going with the trend that we know from you of going with the underdog? Well, how are you playing this here?
When it's boxer versus puncher, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder tend to favor the boxer in most situations, and I have historically in most cases. I think here, this is no different. I think Terence Crawford is going to win this fight by decision, have that at plus 175. If you look at PointsBet, DraftKings, and other sports books, you may be in that territory where it's very favorable and you can make a profit on it. I think Terence Crawford winning by decision is the most likely scenario. Not to say that he's guaranteed to win this fight, but I don't think anyone's going to get knocked out. And I do think that eventually, as Shantelle mentioned, he is going to figure out Errol Spence, sort of pick his shots, counter effectively, swiftly move defensively to control this fight in a different sort of way and evade and be able to withstand enough of the body punching and enough of the shots that he's going to eat from Errol Spence. If he can take his punch, and Terence Crawford does have a chin. If he could take his punch, then he could take this to the cards and win 115, 113, 116, 112. I think it'll be relatively close, and Errol Spence will have plenty of moments, but I think Terence Crawford wins at some points.
All right, we'll see this. Terence Crawford winning on points. Both of you like Crawford in this fight. The fight will go down on Saturday, July 29th in Vegas. One of the most anticipated fights, as I said, in years. Check out Shantelle Chand, Bryan Fonseca. They are the hosts of the Mandatory. And after the fight, they've got a live show to break it all down for you. Go check that out on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Guys, you guys always are the best in terms of breaking down boxing, especially when it comes to the betting. I appreciate y'all and enjoy the fight.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate you.